Lifestyle radio station.
To the extent that
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Office of Attorney General rejects suggestions that government's anti-corruption oral campaign is not achieving its intended purpose.
To the extent that for Adu we are about 1/3 through the case, 1/3 of the journey through the case. If not for legal vacation, which stops the courts for 2 months, we probably would have closed our case.
We'll bring you more from an exclusive interview. Also, second quarter open source gun incident report by National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons paint a gloomy picture about rising incidents of gun violence across Ghana. And much later, concerned traders of Holy Garden Market at Circle protest and attempt to forcibly evict them from their trading post. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the Office of the Attorney General has rejected suggestions that the government anti-corruption campaign is not achieving its intended purpose. Critics say that the office has, since the new administration took off, filed only 2 cases in court with no convictions secured. Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai spoke earlier on the state of Operation Recover or Loot policy in an exclusive interview with us.
To the extent that for Adu we are about 1/3 through the case, 1/3 of the journey through the case. If not for legal vacation, which stops the courts for 2 months, we probably would have closed our case, and then the defense will be open. But we will come back in October and then continue with where we left from. That is super fast. That is very, very fast if you compare it with all the other criminal trials that we are even doing here. But I understand, I know after this, I'm sure one of the bites you put out there is that Deputy Attorney General says the oral is super fast. So then the public will say, but we don't see anything. But the point I'm trying to make is that the expectation is legitimate because of what we have witnessed. But the work we are going through and we are doing is very thorough and is vibrant. I hardly sleep. But the bigger point here is that the public would have to, as it were, be also made aware of the processes. That we can't just bundle people based on complaints and throw them into jail. So someone says 8 months down the line, nobody's in jail. We have done 8 months. We don't see anybody in jail. The people are still walking about. And some of them are giving interviews. But there is no law which says that if you are being prosecuted.
In fact, they've made reference to the National Service Secretariat one. The lady involved that the Attorney General spoke about her. She participated in a recent GFA event, and we saw, if you go on social media, you see the comments. People are saying that all what the AG said. How is the matter not in court?
Yeah, why is he still contesting and winning election and we are here? How is Adu granting interview and talking about Omani being his good friend and all? We have to, there's nothing really we can do as law enforcement about people's rights to contest, because the position of the law is that you are innocent until you are proven guilty.
The Deputy Attorney General also says that the government is set to present a law to revolutionize legal education in Ghana. A National Bar Council will be set up to administer professional law exams after students receive training in accredited universities.
GLC is basically judge heavy in terms of its composition and give it to the universities. So the universities will be accredited, which will run the law practice program. That is what we call the Makola program. it will. So, for example, if you go to University of Ghana, you do after your LLB, University of Ghana will be running the Makola program, which would be regulated by the new body that will be.
I guess you mean all universities, not necessarily University of Ghana.
I'm just using I'm just using University of Ghana as an example, but any accredited university, and it's not going to be all universities. Yeah. It's going to be universities that have been vetted and given accreditation. And some of the factors that will be considered in giving accreditation is your faculty strength. That is the persons who are teaching in the university. Are they persons who are really qualified? Do you have those people in-house?
So you do 3 or 4 years depending on whether it's postgraduate or main at the university. Then afterwards, what happens?
Yeah, you do 1 year. It may be, we are still fine-tuning that. But what we are trying to do is that we offload a number of the subjects that are currently being treated at the law school, professional law school level to the faculty, because something as conveyancing could be treated if the faculties that the universities are teaching land law. So why can't they add conveyancing to it to round up?
So when you complete that, you take an exam?
Yes, you take. There will be a bar exam by the National Bar Council. So there will be a National Bar Council. So you don't come to any law school in Makola anymore. But when it's time, you apply, you sit for the exam, and then you take it. We are even considering the number of times the exams will be conducted every year. So it may be 3 times in a year, it may be 1 time in a year, but we have not yet reached that point. So that is what we are looking at.
What becomes of the Ghana School of Law, which you attended?
Ghana School of Law belongs to, GLC is an Attorney General Department.
Okay.
So it's our building, the facility is ours. So we may use this for other purposes like training our lawyers or training investigators, but that decision would be, when you look at the lawmaking process, we have to do other consultation after the bill is drafted and everything. So those are some of the possibilities. And we have post-call people in the system. So maybe Ghana Law School will be used for, running programs for post-call people or other people, but it will not be the same Ghana Law School where everybody must attend for 2 years to become a lawyer. No.
And you heard the Deputy Attorney General Justice Shrem Sai. Let's move on to some other issues. The National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons has released its second quarter open source gun incident report, painting a troubling picture of rising gun violence across Ghana. Between April and June alone, 54 incidents were recorded, more than triple the 15 cases in the first quarter of the year. The Ashanti region topped the list with 21 incidents, followed by the Eastern region with 8 and the Upper East region with 7. Overall, 11 of the country's 16 regions reported cases, underscoring a widespread security challenge. Now, the Commission's second quarter open source gun incident report also says that the violence claimed 43 lives, with men making up over 90% of both perpetrators and victims. Alarmingly, armed robbery, murder, violent clashes and unlawful possession of firearms accounted for more than 85% of all reported cases. The findings raise critical questions about security lapses, weak gun control and growing boldness of violent offenders. Let's speak to security and fraud consultant Richard Komado. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Komado, can you hear us?
I can't hear you. Say it again, please.
Okay, I haven't asked the question yet. I was saying thank you very much for joining us. But the latest,
you're welcome, Beatrice.
Yes, the latest report shows a dramatic rise in gun-related violence across Ghana, from 15 incidents in the first quarter to 54 in the second. That's quite huge. In your view, what's driving this sudden increase?
If you look at the Ashanti region in particular, there's a lot of small-scale manufacturing units in Kumasi. When you take Eastern region, some aspect of Eastern region, you still have a lot of small arms manufacturing units there. So I'm not surprised arms have gotten into hands of illegitimate persons. And the common enemy among us, which has always been with us for some time, armed robbery, has featured predominantly in the report. If you take Upper East region, the Boko conflict have not even yet come into the report, but these are instances of safety breaches and security lapses. So I'm not surprised at all. What it also means is that as a nation, we will need a strategy to mop up and to take the arms from the hands of illegitimate people before it gets out of hand.
Before it gets out of hand, you say the Ashanti region recorded the highest number of incidents. What do you know could be the underlying factors contributing to the violence in that region in particular?
Kumasi has become cosmopolitan, just like Accra. You have a variety of persons living there. You have a lot of economic activities. So what is next will be crime. And to the extent that people can commit crime and get away with it, and people have now resorted to use of arms instead of a normal disagreement with somebody, I'm not surprised at all. If you look at the nature of cosmopolitan identities and ethnic identities of people who live in the greater Ashanti region, you wouldn't be surprised about the outcomes of gun violence. If you take Greater Accra, the next major city in Ghana is the Ashanti region. So that is what it is. So unfortunately, you have a lot of artisans who has the capacity to manufacture small arms. But then there is the other underlying trend that the small arms we have in Ghana moves from locations to locations. And these arms are not only used in the three regions they have mentioned, but they could be used to commit crimes in some other regions, and they will return back to the host in Kumasi. And it's important we add this to the report so that people see the danger and the urgent need for retrieval of arms in the hands of illegitimate people in relation to the work the small arms is doing.
I want us to look at another side of the report, which talks about over 85% of the reported cases involving armed robbery, murder, violent clashes, and unlawful possession of firearms. What does this tell us about the evolving nature of crime in Ghana?
Definitely, it is high. It wasn't long ago when we begged the latest Supreme Court justices to the Supreme Court at Parliament. If you remember, there were three lines that came out. One of the two lines that featured predominantly when the last batch of the Supreme Court justices were being vetted was that we have limited number of judges in Ghana. We have limited number of lawyers. And some were even suggesting that new common lawyers, new entrants of lawyers should do pro bono at the legal aid. But then they also said that crime is going up and the criminal cases at the cause are becoming something else, which means that as a society, in terms of social cohesion, we are losing it. In terms of crime, we are not doing something right, and our crime levels are going up. Some people could link it to economics and financial hardship and the general lack of employment that makes people to resort to crime. But then we can also say that to the extent that you have limited lawyers and limited judges, and crimes have not been prosecuted, non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. And that is exactly what we are saying.
You're linking it to not prosecuting people, but again, others would argue that perhaps we need to look at the current interventions like gun control laws and police responses, which I think you've answered a bit of, to adequately deal with the problem. How do you look at that as well?
Definitely, I agree. That is what I have always been of the view, that there has to be an enhanced background checks on individuals who want to own arms in this country. Those who import arms as a legitimate business will need to go through enhanced due diligence. Then with the police, the registration of arms and the renewal, there has to be a strategy.
Hello? Okay.
Policy and enforcement has always been a problem. So we can also look at enforcement as one of the key issues in this particular regard.
We missed a bit of what you said, but what about what more do we need to do as regards Ghana's laws? I don't know whether you mentioned it when we missed you.
What is that people who want to own arms will need background checks outcomes to confirm same. People who import arms into this country as a legitimate business will need enhanced due diligence in the nature of the business they do. Then the police must also look at people who want to register their arms and the renewal processes. It becomes cumbersome sometimes. We have laws in this country. Enforcement has always been a problem. So enforcement should be part of the discussions on the table in relation to retrieving arms from the hands of illegitimate people.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr.
1 week or two, we're able to retrieve a number of arms from people who they think have licenses but they find themselves at.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumado, for speaking to us. You had the security and fraud consultant, Richard Kumado, and we do apologize for the poor quality of that line just at the latter part of the conversation. Some 15 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll be telling you more about what's happening in some parts of the capital city. Don't go away.
Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
And you're still here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. Thank you very much for staying. Now, 3 suspects in the murder of the immigration officer Stephen King Amor have arrived at the Adabraka District Court, escorted by the police for the continuation of their trial. Family members and sympathizers of the deceased, who at the last adjourned date attempted to assault the suspect, refrained from such actions. Now, Amor, 38, was reported missing on the 3rd of July 2025 after leaving home to meet a friend at Ashongmang Estate. His charred body was later discovered on June 9 at Ebom Junction near Kwabinya, sparking a manhunt and an intensive police investigation. Brightawa and Thomas Ziga have been charged for their involvement in the killing of the immigration officer. Lord Edwasari is our quarter first correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Lord, what more can you tell us as regards what's happening today?
Right, Beatrice. So the case is yet to be called, but I can report that both Bright and then Thomas are in court, still in cuffs. They are waiting their turn for their case to be called. Like it happened last week, we have seen several sympathizers and then family members gathered here, observing the nature of the proceedings, actually waiting for how things will pan out. One thing that was clear, however, was that they made it a point not to, as it were, confront or assault or attack the accused persons, as we reported that they did at the last agendas. I spoke to some of them and they indicated that, well, today marks exactly 2 months since Stephen was murdered, and so they are in a solemn mood. They are just trying to honor his memories by not being violent or of any nature. So, I mean, if you observe or watch the video, you realize that rather than assault or try to attack him, they're still throwing invectives at him and just sort of cutting him out about what has happened, but no attempt whatsoever was made to lay their hands on him. One thing was also very clear that this time around the police were very particular and meticulous in making sure that they ward them off. So, and we're not taking any chances at all to make sure that the suspects remain safe until they were escorted to the courtroom. And so we are waiting here at the Adabraka District Court until the case is closed, and then we'll give the updates accordingly. At the last agenda is also, I need to put on record that the prosecution amended the charge sheet. The last time they were actually charged with murder, but those charges have been amended since the second accused was also arraigned before the court. We are yet to find out or yet to know what these new or amended charges are. We get to know all that once the case is called, and we'll accordingly update Beatrice.
Thank you so much, Lord Edwasaria, Court Affairs correspondent, with that update from the court. Now, a group identifying itself as the concerned traders of the Holy Garden Police Station Market at Circle has expressed frustration over ongoing attempts to evict traders from their trading post. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday morning, that's today, the market leader stated that if the eviction is allowed to proceed, members will be displaced, and this action would also render over 3,000 traders jobless. Joseph Armstrong is following up on this. He joins us live on the line. Armstrong, what more can you tell us?
So, Beatrice, what it is the group accused the foreign national that happens to be a Chinese businessman at the place for trying to buy over the entire market. They said that he came to the place around 2012 with only 2 buses to just be engaged in the bus business. Later, he expanded by building shops along the area, and many people were evicted there within that period. And after the shop, he went ahead to build a hotel also at the same place. Still, people were evicted again. This time around, he wants to expand again his bus business operation, hence the need for these other traders also to be evicted from where they are so he can expand his business. So these are things that the traders are alleging that a Chinese businessman is engaging. And this time around, they are calling on the MP for the area to come to their intervention. Also call on the MC to come and help them, because if this eviction is allowed to continue, 3,000 of them are going to be jobless. Beatrice.
Thank you so much, Joseph Armstrong, our reporter, speaking to us live from Circle in Okran. Still speaking of traders, the La Nkwantanang Medina Municipal Assembly is stepping up efforts to improve sanitation and order around the main Medina market and the lorry station, which has become a dumping site for refuse by some unscrupulous individuals. Now, this is ahead of the September 6th National Sanitation Day. The Assembly is warning traders and waste disposal trucks to stay off dumping refuse at unauthorized places, as it is strictly against the bylaws of the Assembly. Remember that 56 deaths have been recorded on the Medina Zongo Junction within 7 years alone. Here's the MC for the area, Ibrahim Husseini, speaking earlier to Sri FM.
In fact, we're supposed to put green grass. You know, they started with putting green grass, I think, about 3 years ago. But look at it today. So because it's a community of where, sometimes laws, by some few individuals, laws have been abused. I think we need to do the concrete one, just like Malam area. Then we put the iron and then the wire mesh on top of it. I'm sure when we do that, it will help the police and the security task force or the city guards, including my group now, to be directing the pedestrians to be using the footbridges. And that is what we are hearing to.
Can you confirm the number of deaths at this area?
The number of deaths? Yes, in 7 years we have about 53 deaths. So right from Zongo Junction here to Research. It's because of loading on the shoulders of the street. So if this station is also there, don't you think we can push all these drivers in the station? Must we think because of the interest of the individual? No.
And you had the obviously charged MC for the Medina area, Ibrahim Husseini. Now, the acting medical director of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Dr. Leslie Adam Zakaria, has appealed to the government to consider the construction of an accommodation facility for health officers who work at the hospital. He says most of the workers commute from farther distances daily to work, which sometimes affect their service delivery. Christian Yale has been following up on this story. Chris, what more can you tell us?
Yes, so apart from the issue of accommodation, when you get here, the hospital authorities have indicated that space is one other challenge that they confront on a daily basis. And so when you get to a lot of the wards, like from the maternity ward, when you get to the imaging department and other departments or units, one common thing runs through that they do not have enough space to accommodate the numbers. And so there are instances that they have to always refer some of the patients to other places. There are issues about even the equipment that they use. And so when you go to the imaging department like this, The mammogram is not working, the CT scan as well as even the MRI and other, equipment that they need to work are all not functioning as of the moment. And so these are some of the pockets of issues or challenges that they have relayed to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health to escalate. They have also mentioned the issues about charges, especially when you get to the surgical ward, for instance. They are pleading with the committee to adopt or to implement some charges from the parliamentary level so that they are able to charge fair amount to patients to ensure that everyone is well catered for. The visit by the health committee, among many other things, is to ensure that they get first-hand information of the challenges and some of the needs that the hospitals or the facilities need. Yesterday, for instance, they were at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to do the same thing. Very soon, we'll get all the briefing to know what is the way forward concerning or even after this visit.
And you had that Christian Yale bring us update from the Accra Regional Hospital. Still on health, Ghana has confirmed 21 new mpox cases, bringing the total to 467 as of August 28. According to the situation report released by the Ghana Health Service, death remains 1 with no admissions. All 16 regions have recorded cases of the disease so far in the country, and raising continuous concerns about the increasing number of cases in the country. Authorities are, however, yet to say when the vaccine secured will arrive in the country for the campaign to begin. Mpox spreads mainly through close contact with an infected person. The general public is still encouraged to practice good hygiene and seek medical attention if they develop symptoms such as headaches, fever, rash, and body pains. Now, President John Mahama this morning is swearing in some 18 envoys to serve as ambassadors, high commissioners, and protocol officers representing Ghana in various countries. The 18 represent the first batch of 2 to be sworn in and given their instrument of office. Some of people going out of the country to represent Ghana include Mrs. Zita Benson, High Commissioner Designate to London, United Kingdom. Also, Mr. Victor Emmanuel Smith, Ambassador Designate, Washington, D.C., USA, Mr. Baba Jamal, Mohammed Ahmed, High Commissioner Designate, Abuja, Nigeria. Also, Professor Kwesi Obri Danso, High Commissioner Designate, New Delhi, India. Ambassador Samuel Yalkuma. Also, Mrs. Patience Gameli Kwame, Ambassador at Large Designate, Deputy Director General, Research Department. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us on the Midday News today on 3FM 92.7. Log on to shrenews.com for more news. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Bisma Kawusa.
Journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire. Come forward. I think I chica fankare. As Zure ya chika fankare. Abama ta chika nkare.
You're ready.
Something big is happening in Accra. It's 3FM Afro Connect, a grand celebration of African unity, culture, and creativity in Ghana.
This September, Africa will unite to celebrate the beauty and cultural diversity of the continent right here in Accra, Ghana. The whole continent is gathering in one place at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park on Nkrumah Holiday, the 22nd of September 2025 from 9 a.m. Experience the rhythms, the art, the fashion,
and the unforgettable spirit of unity. Exhibitions, food and vendor markets, and of course the legendary 3FM Jollof Wars. This year, AfroConnect gets even bigger and better with the Osajifo Night Concert. Buy your tickets on *725*2226#. That's *725*2226# for 100 Ghana cedis. To be a vendor for this Pan-African celebration, call us on 0531 100 927 and 0532 200 927 to book your space.
Don't forget, it's happening at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Accra, on the 22nd of September from 9 a.m.
Proudly sponsored by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. Coming up this afternoon, Cocoa Board settles 2 billion cedis coupon payments after Cocoa Bills restructuring as it assures investors of future payouts. We'll bring you details. And Chamber of Mines warns shortening mining lease periods and government's law review could drive away investors. We'll hear from Chief Executive Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashibe. This story and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. The Ghana Cocoa Board has made good on its promise to settle cocoa payments to investors following the restructuring of its cocoa bills under the Domestic Debt Exchange Program (DDEP). Sources confirmed that about 2 billion cedis was paid on September 1, 2025, bringing relief to investors, mostly commercial banks who were affected by the debt restructuring. Cocoa Board has settled coupon payments worth 2 billion cedis to investors holding its restructured cocoa bills. The payments made on Monday, September 1, 2025, come after the government's domestic debt exchange program, which converted the short-term cocoa bills into long-term bonds. Commercial banks, which were the main holders of the instruments, were among the hardest hit during the restructuring. But Cocoa Board has now assured investors that coupon payments of nearly 1.9 billion cedis due in 2026 and 2027, as well as the principal, will be honored on schedule. The settlement was facilitated by some local banks acting as transaction advisors. In recent months, Cocoa Board has been working to clean its books, settle outstanding debts, and strengthen its financial position to support cocoa purchases. Analysts believe the restructuring could enhance Cocoa Board's credit rating and allow it to secure new funding at more affordable rates ahead of the next crop season. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on Cocoa Board settling 2 billion cedis coupon payments after cocoa bills restructuring. Moving on, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has expressed concern over government plans to shorten the lease period for mining operations, warning that the move could deter potential investors. The government is currently reviewing the Minerals and Mining Act as part of efforts to maximize the country's benefits from its natural resources. However, speaking to journalists, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, said the proposed changes risk undermining the sector's growth and could disenfranchise key stakeholders.
It is important that when we are looking at the tenure of the lease, we don't curtail the available time for recouping this investment and earning a fair return. Because what is going to happen is that if the tenure is short, then you might, that when you do your NPVs, you will find out the project is not feasible. And if it is not feasible, nobody will bring his money to invest. Not foreigners, not only FDI, LDI. Local direct investment. Currently, all of us that are sitting here, if they decide that our pension funds should go into mining, an area that I would encourage that should happen, then so that we can also benefit. But then you start looking at it and you know that the tenure is short and you're not too sure about it. You remember what happened when they wanted to go and buy our stake in the Smith, this thing? The way Labour rose out. Labour would also say, no, don't go and put my pension funds in it. So it's important. If you reduce the tenure, what is going to happen? You're going to encourage high grading.
And that was Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. To some other stories, the government is set to make a formal announcement today, to Thursday, September 4, 2025, in its escalating standoff with MultiChoice Ghana, operators of DSTV. The Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation has warned the company that its operations could be shut down by September 6 unless subscription fees are reduced. Already, MultiChoice is facing heavy penalties after failing to provide key pricing data demanded by regulators. The sanctions at 10,000 cedis per day have now accumulated to more than 150,000 cedis. Communications Minister Samuel George Nati says the government remains firm on its position, but it is also leaving room for dialogue. Moving on with Ghana's corporate governance and public accountability under scrutiny, the Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana has ushered in new leadership. At a ceremony in Accra, the governing council handed over to Ebenezer Kwejo Omari Mreku, who takes over as president from Joseph Dakora Zumazigi. Mr. Zumazigi, in his farewell address, recounted the Institute's strides in promoting professional development and strengthening internal controls. He noted that internal auditors remain central to building trust in both public and private institutions.
If we certify our members, they'll be able to do their work well. They would uncover even more infractions if the infractions are already existing. And then the instance where they have to make recommendations or suggest corrective actions, they'll be able to come up with better corrective actions so that even if we have infractions, the situation should improve and not be worse.
Mr. Omari Mreku, in his inaugural speech, pledged to push reforms in some key areas.
So we need to enhance that collaboration with our key stakeholders, with regulatory bodies, with the African Federation of the Institute of Internal Auditors, with the global body, because now a lot is emerging when it comes to the internal audit profession. So it's important that that becomes very key to us. And then globally, things are changing. There are trending matters when it comes to automation and then computerization. So as a result, we ourselves need to innovate so far as our processes are concerned.
Under the theme Rooted in Strength, Smarter Future, the new leadership is seeking to align the Institute with global standards while deepening its role in national accountability systems. Now, MTN Ghana has announced that it will adopt a gradual approach in winding down its 2G and 3G networks, ensuring that subscribers are given ample time to adjust to newer technologies. Addressing journalists at the Digital Africa Summit in Accra, the company's Chief Executive Officer, Stephen Blewett, acknowledged that a significant section of customers still depend heavily on 2G